that is. What is it about running that makes it just so inspirational, I guess?
Well, I think because anybody can do it, first of all. I mean, you don't have to be the fastest runner. You don't have to win the race. All you have to do is get out there and put one foot in front of the other. And you don't even have to run the whole time. You can just walk. And you can accomplish things by just, going a little bit further, that next day or that next week, or maybe going a little bit faster, but it doesn't even have to be any of those. It doesn't have to be time based or anything. It just could be how it makes you feel, getting healthy. So I think that to me, that's probably the biggest thing, is that it is for anyone. And a lot of people don't really get into running until they are adults. Even myself, I used to I played sports growing up, but I didn't like to run because it was always the punishment for, being late to practice. And I hear so many people say a similar thing, that they didn't really get into running. And now, and anybody that knows me, I'm pretty much obsessed with running, and it's something that I have to do. So I think it's for anybody.
There are far worse things to be obsessed with than
This
running,
this
and
is true. Yes.
well, and it's funny though, like, one of the things that you just talked about, how anyone can do it. I
Yeah.
think what's neat is that it can be measured on your own.
Right.
You can set the bar for accomplishment with yourself. Like you said, you don't have to go out and think, I'm going to set a world record every time I
Right.
run. For me, it was about getting my halftime down from 3 hours to 2 hours.
Hmm.
And the fact that it's something that you can set the benchmark, and then how hard you want to work, like, you get in what you put out of it.
Right.
But all that being said, and this is I'm dying to ask you this.
Okay.
Like, you've worked with a lot of different runners on a ton of different levels.
Yes.
Without giving names, you don't have to give names out if you don't want to, but are there any instances of runners you've worked with that has really stuck with you in terms of seeing how much they accomplished, but more importantly, how much it meant to them?
Yeah. I'd say I, it's hard to pinpoint, just like one or two. I can think of a few instances. Just one specific. I had this lady that I was working with, and her goal was she wanted to run an entire 5K. She usually would do run walk intervals, nothing wrong with that, but she just had a goal she wanted to run. And so it was going to be hard for her to do that. But we worked for that, and she worked really hard. And it was at one of the Christmas 5Ks. This has been probably 10 years ago now, but that this happened. But I remember telling her, it doesn't matter if you have to slow your pace, if you have to slow down to a shuffle, just don't walk. And when you get to that point where you're thinking, oh, I got to stop and walk, just think of how hard you've worked and how far you've come. And she ran that entire 5K. I don't remember what her time was. I don't remember any of that. All I remember was that she did that. And so that was one very inspiring story to me, that I always remember that. And then just in general, people, I hear a lot of times they don't believe that they can do something. And even yourself, you probably, I'm sure we had conversations, you're like, I can't do that speed work at that pace. But
Yep.
then I said, just try. This is a conversation I have quite often with people. I'm like, just try and see what happens. And, they surprise themselves. And so that really inspires me when people they learn to trust themselves and believe, because of all the hard work that they've put in. So those are very inspiring moments to me.